Hey everyone, it is Sarah. Another garden tour video is what's about to happen, and I'm really excited. There are a lot of cool things that are happening right now. I'm 2 months into my growing season, so let's just get into it and let me show you what's happening in the garden. So the first thing that I'm just going to show you guys are my potatoes. They are starting to die back, and it's getting closer and closer to be that time where I'm going to harvest them. I'm really excited. I cannot wait to dig them up. I'm just really wanting to see how well they actually did, since this is my first time growing potatoes. As you can see, these ones are still doing really well and growing, so they're not ready to be pulled up yet. But this one right here, there's one in the back over here, and then these ones as well. They're getting close to needing to be dug up, and I can't wait to get potatoes. So I know I'm acting like a little kid, but it's my first time growing them, and I can't be more excited to see how it's going to turn out. And then we have my onions and rhubarb. Like I said before, the rhubarb's probably not going to be something we can harvest this year, simply because we did pull it up and transplant it back. As you can see, this one over here, I don't know what happened. It was doing okay, and I watered it because it hadn't rained for a day or two. But it's just wilting, and all the other ones are doing pretty fine, so I don't know. I'm sure it'll be fine and it'll grow back next year, but I do plan on watering them. Actually, I think it's supposed to rain tonight, so I'm not going to be watering them. I don't want them to get overwatered. As you can see, my onions are still growing pretty well. Some of the tops fell over because we did have a really bad windstorm the other day, but I'm leaving them in until it looks like they're going to need pulled up. This one looks like it's doing really well. It has a really thick stalk, so it'll be interesting to see. Again, this is something else that I've grown for the first time this year, so I'm really excited to see how well they do whenever I go to pull them up out of the garden. Some of my plants are starting to grow outside the fence. Which I have mistaken what this plant is. I had it labeled as the crown of thorns gourd, but it's actually the strawberry winter gourd, which makes me a little more excited. Again, a word that I'm going to continue to use. Makes me a little more excited because it's actually growing. It has quite a few gourds on it that are growing. So I should have quite a few winter gourds to use and store over winter to use. Not a whole bunch, but some. So I'm looking forward to that. And then we have my cucumbers that are starting to grow outside of the fence, and that's okay. There's a few right here. There's one right there. Same thing with the little cucamelons, the Mexican sour gherkins. They're growing as well. There's another one. But they are starting to come outside of the fence, and that's okay, as long as they keep growing and do their job. Now, something did happen, I think a little over a week ago. Matt and I were in the garden. After that windstorm that we had, we were tying up the tomato plants and trying to fix them because they had started to knock over and things like that. So we went in the garden, and we always keep the gate open and let Freya roam in and out of the garden as she pleases, because she enjoys being with us and she loves investigating and things like that. So we were working in the garden, and all of a sudden we hear this beep, 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 beep noise, and I'm like, what is that? And then all of a sudden I see Freya through the trellis, and she's over here. I'm like, Matt, I think she has something. So he runs over and he says, drop it. And she drops it and she runs off, and I come over because Matt was closer to her than I was. And he was like, what is that? And I'm like, hold on, I'm coming here. He's like, it looks like a baby rat. And I'm like, a baby rat? What on earth? So I come over and I look, and I'm like, Matt, that's a baby rabbit. So I pick it up and I put it in my shirt because at this point we're like, this is the first time we've ever seen a baby rabbit, like a wild baby rabbit. So I'm like, well, there has to be a nest here somewhere. And we had just mowed the grass like 2 days beforehand, so there was a lot of like the dry grass around the yard, and then we had pulled all those weeds right after we had mowed the grass, so there were all those dry weeds everywhere. So we were like looking to see if there was like a little nest underneath of those weeds, those dry weeds and grass, and we could not find anything. And I was like, you know, the sound happened pretty immediate. I think if she would have picked it up outside and then brought it into the garden, that we would have heard the meep. I'm calling it the meeping. We would have heard the meeping a lot sooner. So I was like, I wonder if it's inside the garden. So we started looking around and I couldn't find anything. He couldn't find anything. And I was like, well, let's go back to where she was, because it happened immediately. It couldn't have been that far from where it was. And lo and behold, there was a baby rabbit's nest inside of our garden. Had 4 or 5, I think. There was at least 4. There might be 5. And they didn't have any fur yet. Their eyes were still closed. Like I said, this was a little over a week ago, probably shortly after I posted one of my last videos. And it was just such an interesting thing to see, because I've never seen baby rabbits before, like actual wild baby rabbits. And then I was like, oh my gosh. As a gardener, I'm like, there's a mama rabbit in here somewhere, and she's probably eating all of my fruit and vegetables. However, I have not had anything that has been bit into or eaten or anything like that, so she must be leaving and going somewhere else, and maybe she just knows that since this is fenced in, that her babes are safe. So I'm going to show you guys the baby rabbits, because I've been checking on them daily, and it's a whole myth. I have a friend that is actually Megan. She is very accustomed to assisting in like rehabilitating animals and things like that. And we had asked her what to do, because at the time we were like, can we put the baby rabbit back? Will the mom take care of it? Turns out it's a myth that, you know, the mom won't take care of the baby rabbit if it has a human scent to it or something like that. So we put the baby rabbit back. That's whenever we saw that there were at least 4 altogether, maybe 5 baby rabbits. So I've just been checking on them daily to see their progress and how much they've grown. And I just want to show you guys their little nest and how they're doing. So I'm going to show you them real quick. So this is the rabbit's nest. It is right at the edge of the cucumber trellis. And this is actually like a lot bigger than what it was, but they're obviously growing. And I'm going to go ahead and pull the nest back, or the stuff that's in the nest back, so you can see them. Look how cute they are. There's 1, 2, 3. There are 5. Okay, so there are 5. But I've been just checking on them to make sure that mama is still coming back to visit them. Let me pick one up. Look at your little baby. I know a lot of people are like, you should just leave them alone, but I want to make sure they're healthy and that mama's coming to see them frequently. I was reading up to see, you know, as long as they're moving and they're active and they don't look like they are malnourished, and as long as they're not making a whole lot of noise, then they're fairly healthy. So I do like to continue to check on them daily, and then I cover them back up just to make sure that they're doing well. I'm not a heartless individual, so I'm definitely going to leave these baby rabbits alone. If for some reason they do end up eating some stuff out of my garden, that's okay. I want them to fully mature and grow so that they can have a nice life and a home. So I'm really excited. I've been seeing them grow as this week, a little over a week has gone by, and I can't wait until they get a little bit bigger and start being more active. I think I read that it takes about 3 weeks after they start getting hair for them to be completely weaned off their mom. So they're about a week in because they were hairless whenever I first saw them. But then shortly after that, they did get hair and their eyes did open. So they've got a little ways to go, but I'm excited to continue to see them grow and everything like that. So it'll be interesting to see. And like I said, I'm not too worried about losing anything from my garden. I have so much. My garden is more than overfilled this year, so it'll just be interesting to see how they do and how they grow. So just to get back to the progress of my garden, the cucamelons are still doing really well. I do need to pick them here soon, but I think I'm going to wait until after it rains tonight so they can maybe tomorrow or the day after. That way they can get a little more plump for whenever I pick them. Now, my dragon gourd plant is starting to die back some. I think I might come in and trim off some of these leaves that are dying, but I do have a couple dragon gourds. Let me see if I can grab it so you guys can see how big it is compared to my hand. And they've got a little weight to them, but they've got a little weight to them, but they are definitely doing really well. I'm excited to see how big they get. It looks like this one's growing here. This one's growing here, and then I think this one's also growing. There were quite a few of them that you can see that died off because they weren't getting pollinated, and that's fine. I thought they were going to do a lot better than what they have been, but either way, it'll still be good to have some decorative gourds. Again, my cucumbers are doing really well. This one may or may not grow. It has a little bit of yellowing. We'll see. So this is the circumstance that I was talking about. I thought that this was the crown of thorns gourd because that's the label that I had on it. And I thought this was the strawberry crown squash. I have since discovered that I was incorrect. This is the strawberry crown squash, and this is the crown of thorns gourd. I'm more excited because the strawberry crown squash is an edible squash, and you can see I have this one that's growing right here. See how big it is compared to my hand? Like it's huge. There's one there. There's another one here that's growing. And then there's a little one right here. Here's another one. So they're doing really well. And I've been just weaving it back and forth. Let me try to get this back in here. I've been weaving this plant back and forth in the trellis so that it continues to grow. And then the crown of thorns gourd, let me just get around here real quick. The crown of thorns gourd, you can see that it has this. This is starting to grow. And see that? That one's starting to grow. So I have, I think, 3 of those that are growing. Oh wait, no, there's 4. That's the 4th one. So I have 4 of those growing. And the crown of thorns gourd and the dragon gourd, those are decorative squashes, so you can't eat them. So I'm just going to use them for decoration in the fall whenever they're fully matured. It'll just be nice to have something like that. Next year, I might grow them somewhere else so that what I grow inside the garden is all edible, but I wanted to do something different and try something. So, and they look really nice on the trellis, so it was just really nice experiment to do this year. Now I'm very excited because my zucchini is finally growing. I think whenever we started to prune back the leaves, it did give a little more airflow and allowed for the zucchini to be pollinated a little more easily. So it looks like there were a few right there. We have a few more over here. Let me see. I think those are all that are on this side. Now, all right. So I finally have a bullnose pepper that's growing on this pepper plant. The other ones are pretty much gone. I mean, there's the pepper plant still here, but there's nothing growing on this because the zucchini plants have pretty much taken over. I won't be getting very many green peppers this year, and that's okay. I also have my lettuce here that I'm letting go to seed. I'm hoping to try to harvest seed from this. If not, then it's not a big deal, but I wanted to try it to see how well it would do. My green onions that I planted the second time, they're doing pretty good. Although I don't know if they're getting enough sunlight. Right here is kind of like a little microclimate because it gets sun, but it doesn't get direct sunlight consistently throughout the day, just occasionally throughout the day, which has made it perfect for whenever I have my lettuce, whenever I had my spinach and my kale. It made it last a lot longer. I did plant a second batch of lettuce and it is starting to grow. And then I think these are, I think they're turnips, maybe? I don't know, they're a fast growing crop, so we'll see how they do. And then the cabbage is still going. This has a little head. You can see that it's getting eaten some, but I mean, it's still doing pretty good. And as you can see, my cucumber plants are starting to die back some. So I think I actually have enough time to, or I should have enough time to go ahead and put some more seeds in the ground and see if I can get a couple more plants to grow from seed. I think one of the varieties that I have is like maybe 55 or 60 days for harvest. So I think I'm going to go ahead and, because my frost date is about a little less than 90 days away, so I should still be able to get quite a few cucumbers out of it. All right, these are my green beans. As you can see, they're starting to die back. I think one day this week I'm going to pick the rest of the beans off here that are on here. I think the ones that are all the way back there I might leave so that they can dry up and I can get I can harvest seeds from there. And then I think I might do another planting of these because I think these only take 45 or 50 days to come to harvest or something like that. I'll have to look at the packet. I also have my banana peppers, and I'm going to have to pick a lot of these here soon. They're doing really, really well. I'm super excited with how well they're doing, and I think I'm going to pick them and then maybe do, I might pickle some, or I might maybe do a stuffed pepper, because I do like making stuffed banana pepper. Now, the most exciting thing is an update on my tomatoes. So you can see they're starting to take off and ripen. Oh, let me get that to focus. They're starting to take off and ripen. I've actually picked quite a few black cherries off here. And there's one, ooh, look at that. I have a San Marzano that's starting to ripen. There's some more black cherries that are ripening. I've picked I think two, whoops, I've picked two, oh gosh, it is so hard to get down here. I've picked two yellow pear tomatoes. This one's ready to pick two. And then I'm very excited because this is my first Dr. Witchy's. I'm gonna be picking this bad boy today before it rains. And I'm actually going to be making BLTs tonight for dinner with this. There's another, and you can see there's another one, whoops, there's another one that's starting to ripen. There's another one in the garden somewhere that I'll show you here in a second, that it's not as orange as this one, but it's very close, and I may end up picking that one as well to use for sandwiches. And there's the second one. It's almost just as orange, but either way, it's ripe enough to be picked and used. I am going to, oh gosh, I don't know if it's focusing or not. I can't see on my phone. I am going to be using both of those for BLTs, and I'm also going to weigh them to see how big they are. I think last year I had one that was, not a Dr. Witchy, but a beefsteak that was, I think, almost a pound or just over a pound, and I think these guys are going to be over a pound, so they'll be my biggest tomatoes yet. So I'm really excited that my tomatoes are doing so well. Now, I did pick a Lucky Tiger tomato the other day, but I don't know if it was entirely ripe. And this is the first time that I've grown Lucky Tiger tomato plants, or tomatoes in general, like Lucky Tiger tomatoes. But let me go ahead and show you what they're looking like. So with the Lucky Tiger tomatoes, I obviously don't want to pick them unless they're fully ripe, so I may just leave them on the vine until I start to see some coloring on them, because right now they're just light green and dark green. I obviously don't want to pick them if they're unripe. They may have a different flavor whenever they get some more coloration on them. Actually, I think I just found one that has some coloration. So this is a Lucky Tiger tomato, and it looks like this one has some coloring on it. It has like an orangey yellow tone to it. It's not easily coming off whenever I pull on it, so I'm gonna leave it on there just a little bit longer. But it does look like it's starting to crack a little bit, so maybe I will pick it. Let me go ahead and pick it. So that's what it looks like. I might as well just taste it while I'm at it. Oh my gosh. That's amazing. So sweet. So flavorful. I cannot wait until these are fully ripened. I have so many of them. I have very few of these plants because I accidentally killed 2 of them by topping them off whenever I tried to prune them earlier, which you would have seen on some of my previous videos. Those are really, really good. They're definitely going to have to be something that I grow next year. And then these are my cattle bush beans that I have. As you can see, the zucchini is starting to overflow right here, and the tomatoes are starting to come here, but that's okay because I'm leaving these on for the pods to dry so that I can get some dried beans. I don't think that these are going to be enough dried beans to do much of anything with, except maybe put some in like a soup, or make one thing of baked beans that are enough for like Matt and I. But it was something that I wanted to try this year. Next year, maybe I'll dedicate a like a raised garden bed specifically for drying beans, because I'm not super worried about anything really getting to them, since I'm not picking them frequently like you would typical green beans. I just need them for their pods, and I think if it's in a raised garden bed, nothing's really going to bother it unless it's deer, and we haven't had any issues with deer around here. Cross my fingers. So we'll see how it goes. This is my other summer squash patch. I do have a Pattison squash that's about ready to be picked. It's a scallop squash. As you can see, my zucchini is also doing really well. Let me see if I can navigate in here a little bit to see if there's any more. Oh, I do see, I think I see a couple. There's one right here. There's a zucchini right here that's doing well. I can probably pick quite a few of these. And there's, I don't know if you can see the little Pattison squash. This plant right here isn't doing well. It's starting to die back some. But either way, those are doing pretty well. The next thing that I have that I'm going to show you guys an update for are my hot peppers. So my jalapenos are doing pretty well. Right now the jalapenos are fairly small. Here, let me get that on there. They're fairly small, but they are growing. They're still setting flowers. The cayenne peppers are doing phenomenal, as always. This is the first year that I've grown them from seed, but they're still super prolific. I typically use my cayenne peppers for drying to make red pepper flakes, or drying to put in my refrigerator pickles. I still have some from last year that I'm going to be using for my pickles this year. So these will probably be used for red pepper flakes. I did want to try to make hot sauce this year, but I don't think I have enough with wanting to make red pepper flakes. So I think maybe next year I might try to grow twice as many so that I can try to make hot sauce and see how that goes. And then my ground cherries, I think, are getting at the peak of their season. I'm gonna have to come out here one day this week and start to pick all of these that have fallen. This is the most that have fallen. So I have a lot that I need to get up off the ground before some little critters come and grab them, because even though we have a fence, they still have, they're not huge holes, but they're little holes. Birds might come in still and grab them while they're there. So I'm not going to do it today. It's exponentially hot and humid, but I will be getting them here soon. Now, my eggplant, I have this one that's starting to set, I think. There was a bloom there. There's another bloom. I don't know how long these will go for. I've never grown eggplant before. I'm not a big fan of eggplant, but Matt likes it, so it was like, oh, well, hey, let me go ahead and try to grow it this year. So we'll see. If not, if anything, I only planted a couple of plants. I think there's like 3 of each. Next year, I'll probably do a better job of placing them somewhere where they're going to do well. My green onions are doing well from whenever I first planted them. We've been picking those and eating them pretty frequently as needed, because they can continue to grow, and we'll continue to use them as they grow. We'll pick them small, we'll pick them medium, and we'll pick them when they're big. My second round of radishes are starting to come in. They're getting their leaves. Their leaves are growing pretty well. There hasn't been any roots set yet, but they're gonna get there here soon. The parsnips, I did pick one the other day, so I'll probably pick these here soon to see where they're at, and to make space for some more stuff here in this garden bed for fall planting. Same thing with the carrots. I think I might pull these up soon because they've been in for a little while now. So I might pull these here in the next few weeks so that I have more space to grow something else that's a short harvest vegetable. The beets, I think I'm going to pull here shortly. Sorry, that's the kohlrabi. The beets I'm going to pull here shortly, and I'm going to see if I have enough to make juice to make pickled eggs. Matt likes pickled eggs with beet juice, so we'll see how that goes. My kohlrabi is starting to come in. I'm really excited. It's doing really, really well. That one, and then there's a couple right here. The ones in the back are still pretty small. It looks like this is getting eaten up by something. Not sure what, but it was an experiment this year. I've never grown it before. It was a free seed pack from Baker Creek's whenever I ordered seeds, so I don't see anything on here right now that would show what was eating it, so it must be little bugs, and I'm not too worried about little bugs. Oh, what's that? If anybody knows what that is, it looks like some sort of pupa or something. But either way, really excited about how that's doing. And then here's my dill. I have been picking the flowers off these as they're starting to come, to prevent it from seeding, so that it can grow more. And I will be doing some pickles today because the cucumbers that I have in the garden, I actually lost, or the cucumbers that I had in the refrigerator that I pulled from the garden, I had a couple dozen of them that I was trying to stock up on, and I actually had a bag of 6 that were like bad because they were in there too long. So I went ahead and I cut them up yesterday into what I needed them to be, and like size wise, like slices and spears, so that I can pickle them today. I'm going to pickle the I'm also going to pickle the little cucamelons that I have picked too before they go bad. So that's something that I'm going to be doing today, so that I can preserve that harvest, because once I have them in the pickling liquid, then they'll pretty much last for a year in the refrigerator, if not a little more, because I did slice, if they're sliced pretty thick, they last a little longer. So that's going to be on the agenda today. Anyway, yeah, so my plans for this next week are going to be harvesting some cucumbers and cucamelons, harvesting some zucchini, harvesting some beans, replanting some cucumbers, and replanting some beans. Replanting cucumbers, replanting the green beans, and then picking my, my tomatoes as they start to ripen. Also going to be harvesting my ground cherries since they look like they're coming to the end of their peak season. Harvesting the parsnips and carrots possibly. I may leave them in a little longer. I may not. And definitely harvesting the beets. So I've got a lot that I need to do this week. I know that there's going to be some rain this week as well. So we'll see what I can get done in what amount of time, but hopefully the next time that I have a garden tour video, I'll have some more updates for you guys. So be sure to hit like and subscribe if you want to see more garden content from me, and also leave some comments below if you have any suggestions or questions, suggestions in regards to content or questions in regards to what I do garden wise or anything that I have garden wise. Be sure to let me know if you know what that little pupa thing is that was on my kohlrabi leaves. I've never seen that before. I've been making sure there are no hornworms on my tomato plants, and so far I've been really lucky, but I would be interested to know what kind of bug that was on my kohlrabi plant. So be sure to check out other videos. Also, be sure to follow me on Instagram. I pretty much typically post daily updates there in regards to my garden and everyday life, like things that I cook, and of course my little fur babe Freya. So be sure to follow me on Instagram at sarah.funkhauser. Anyway, yeah, so I hope you all have a great week. It's getting towards the end of July, starting to think of other plans. Shortly here soon. We'll probably be working on getting the greenhouse put together and up. So that'll be another video where we show you guys step by step what we do, since we're going to be building it ourselves. So I'm really excited that you guys are following me on my journey. Again, I've been doing this for 4 years, but it's still a learning experience. I still watch a whole bunch of videos on YouTube and still research a lot of things. So I'm really excited that you guys are following my content. I hope you have a nice day and happy gardening. What are you doing, babe? Come on, let's go in the garden. Come on. Ooh, there's another little guy. Let's see if we can get him on the picture. Oh, I can't get it to focus. There's a little spider right there. I don't want to disturb him. Now, some of the what I'm calling volunteer pea plants, like the snap peas and stuff, they are growing, and I have been picking them while they're... Ooh. Wow, sorry guys. I don't know what Freya's barking at. It might be the neighbor. Give me 1 second. What are you doing? Hey, get over here. What are you doing? You barking at the neighbor, or are you barking at something else? Huh? What are you doing? Whew, I want to sneeze. Ugh. Okay. She's barking at a car that's driving by. Freya! Hey! Hey! Freya! Behave! I know, you're such a good guard dog. Sorry. Freya! Hey, come here. Come here. Come here. Get in here. Come on. She's like, no, Mom, you yelled at me whenever I looked at the rabbits last time.